to News to Know. Today is Friday, July 8th, 2022, and here's the news you need to know. We begin today with two brief updates on previous stories. WNBA star Brittany Griner has pled guilty to drug possession in a Russian court. She faces up to 10 years in prison. Her family has asked the U.S. government to intervene to have her return to the United States. The running of the Bulls in Pamplona was a success, following 2 years of cancellations due to the pandemic. Nobody was gored by a bull this year, so hooray. In developing news, in Nicaragua, the missionaries of charity, often referred to as Mother Teresa nuns, have been expelled from the country. The government withdrew their credentials in June, stating that they did not meet their obligations in declaring their sources of funding. The Catholic Sisters have been working in Nicaragua since 1988. They ran a nursing home, a home for abandoned and abused girls, as well as a children's nursery. The sisters were driven by bus, under police escort, to the border with Costa Rica, where they crossed the border on foot. Nicaraguan dictator President Daniel Ortega has been at odds with the Catholic Church since clergy sheltered anti-Ortega student protesters in 2018. Recently, he expelled the Apostolic Nuncio, the Pope's representative in the country, after he spoke out against the human rights abuses happening in the country. President Ortega has called Catholic clergy coup-mongers and devils in cassocks. In Ukraine, it appears that Russian forces might be taking a pause for reorganization. For the first time in 133 days, the Russians have not attempted to take any territory in the country. It is believed that the Russians are simply allowing combat units time to fortify themselves before continuing the fight for the Donbass region. Russian President Vladimir Putin said in a statement that the Russian forces haven't even gotten started yet in their campaign to seize large swaths of Ukraine. In the Gulf of Oman, a British naval vessel has seized a shipment of advanced Iranian missiles. The weapon systems were on their way to Yemen, where they were to be handed over to Houthi rebels. The United Kingdom pointed to the shipment as definitive proof that the Iranians were materially supporting the rebels. The United Nations has placed an arms embargo on rebels in Yemen. The United Kingdom's statement shows a shift in their handling of relations with Iran, as they have never before called out the Islamic Republic in public before. In developing news, former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has collapsed while giving a speech in Japan. A reporter for NHK News reported hearing what sounded like gunshots and saw Mr. Abe bleeding. Japanese police have now arrested a man on attempted murder and retrieved a gun found at the site of Mr. Abe's speech. The former prime minister was one of the longest-serving prime ministers in Japanese history, lasting for over 8 years. Before Prime Minister Abe, Japan would get a new prime minister every 6 months to a year. Mr. Abe stepped down as prime minister in 2020 due to ulcerative colitis. And finally today, on the happier side of things, a goat kid in Pakistan has been born with incredibly long ears. Indeed, his ears do hang low, and they wobble to and fro. It is unclear if his owner ties them in a knot or ties them in a bow. What is known is that the owner intends to keep him for stud, and has claimed an award for having the goat with the longest ears known to man. And now you know the news. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, good night, and God bless.